I deal the cards and make the bad guys go boom. So you best start talking before I start dealing. What's up, Gambit fans? I hope you're as excited as I am to see Gambit is finally in the MCU. So in this tutorial, we're going to learn how to charge this card. But first, if you could give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then we'll go ahead, jump in there, charge this card, and make the bad guys go boom. Okay, so let's get started here on the edit page. First thing we're going to do is bring in the footage that you downloaded, or if you have your own footage that you shot, go ahead and bring that in. So I'm just going to drag that onto the timeline, and I'm going to use the 4K. And as you can see, I have the intro that you saw. The reason why I have that on here is because I would like you to stick around until the end of the video, because I'm going to give you some important homework, which is really going to help solidify the things that you've learned in the Fusion tab today. All right, so I know we're really pushing it here. It's getting a little scary. We're going into Fusion, doing nodes, and you're getting homework. It's a lot there, but don't worry. It's really going to help solidify what you need to know in the Fusion page if you follow along to do it this way. So now that I have the footage there, let's go ahead and take a look at that so I can give you some idea of what you should do with your lighting and stuff. Let's press Command F or Control F. Now let's play it and watch. So you better start talking before I start dealing. And as you saw, the lighting came on at a certain point, so I already have light. If you can add actual light to your VFX when you're going to have something happen, it's really going to enhance what's going on there instead of adding fake lighting and stuff. So now let's get into the Fusion tab. So we're going to come down here. We're going to find this little wand here with these 3 stars. That's for Fusion. We click on that. And now we are here. Bring this up. So I'm just going to bring my media down a little bit here like this. And now what we're going to do is start building a node tree. I'm going to be moving a little fast here if you're a beginner. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining all of these things. So you're just going to have to pause the video and try to follow along step by step like that. You can still learn, but it may be a little difficult for the absolute beginners. What I'm going to do is bring in a couple of merge nodes first, which you can find here in this menu here. It's the one right here with this little arrow goes right. I'm going to grab that, and I'm actually going to bring 2 of them in. So I've got my merge 1 and my merge 2. The next thing I want to do is bring in a background node. The background node is what we're going to use to make the color. So what I need to do is attach this background node to the merge 1. And the way to do that is on the right side here, you see this little square. If I click that and drag and just hover over the merge and let go, it will attach it to this little yellow triangle. Now let's go back to the background. We're going to come up to our color. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to select the purple, or you can, create your purple however you want. This way we get the Gambit's purple. And I'm just going to press OK. Now, a very important step for this is I will remove the alpha, but let's do it later when we can actually see the effect for that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this merge to this merge. And right now, I do not need this to go into anything. All right, so we'll get to that later. So let's select that end merge. And what we can do is we can press 2. And the reason why it's 2 is because this is the second viewer. I know we're only looking at 1. So let's go up to the top right of this window. And you see next to these 3 dots, there's this little 2 window. If I select that, you're going to see 2 windows. So now if I come back to background, as if I select that and I press 1, now you can see the background is there. So now that's matching. And let's go over to the media out. If I select that and I press 2, now it's going to add that. So if you're having any confusion about that, this is how to get to these points. Now let's go back to that background. Select that and grab that alpha and drag it down. Now, once we drag that down, you can now see the little checkerboards in the back there. So now we know we've removed the alpha channel out, and that's going to be very important later because that's going to be the color for our card. What we want to do is we want to find the location of where the light is going to start. So I'm going to use the left and right arrow keys to watch where the light goes. So as you see the lights coming on, let's come back to the point where it goes off. All right, so the last point where it goes off is at 80. So this is where we're going to start. Let me come down to where media is. I want you to select your media node. That's this one here. What you're going to do is we're going to add a tracker. So I want you to press Shift and space. Now, what we're going to do is start typing tracker. So T-R-A. And as you see, a tracker will pop up there. I'm sorry, if you're on Windows, I do believe you press Control Space, then maybe this window will come up. I'm not 100% sure. If I'm wrong, go ahead, let me down below. But since I'm on Mac, I do use the Mac terminology, but I'll try to say what I can for Windows. So now the tracker's there, let's press Add. So now I have a tracker. I'm actually going to drag that up and bring it over here. So with the tracker selected, what I want to do is come up. Let's make this just one window for now, make it less confusing. So let's go ahead and grab this tracker that you see here, IntelliTrack 1, and we're going to bring this down right to the tip of that spade. That's a nice little contrast spot between the black and the white. It's really going to give us a good reading. I want to track forward from 80 on. To do that, let's come up over here. See under the inspector, you can see this little arrow pointing that way. That's track forward. Go ahead and press that. Now Davinci Resolve will run through that really quickly and leave all these little keyframes letting us know that it did that. You can check with the tracker by pressing 2 and you can go ahead and see how that went through and whether or not it's moving with the card. And everything seems like it's really good. It stayed right where we wanted it. So for the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some effect towards that card. So why don't we come over here to merge one? I want to press 2. So that way we can see what we're creating here. Now we're going to add some fast noise. And this can be a little taxing on your computer. So you'll have to deal with that if your computer's a little slow. So come up here. The second one from the left should be your fast noise. If you hover over it, you'll see it say it. Then drag that down and put it right over top of that merge one. I want you to grab the output, as you remember the square, and you're just going to hover over merge one, let go, and it's going to attach to this little triangle here, the green one. Now we're going to make some adjustments to our fast noise. What I want to do is increase this detail. I increase this just a little bit under 9. 8.82. For your footage, it may be different. So you will be able to play with this later on, make adjustments and see how you want. I'm just giving what I used for mine. It's just kind of a basic starting point for it. So now let's go ahead and do the contrast. And the contrast, we're going to bring that up to 2.4, a little bit under 2.5 is what I wanted to go with. And then we're going to leave our scale where it is. We're leaving the angle, unless you want to adjust it. I mean, you can adjust what you would like. And then there's the seethe and seethe rate. So first I'm going to adjust the seethe rate. I'm going to bring that up to 0.11. And then the seethe, I set this at 0.37, I think. So that's where I want to start with this fast noise. Now, this doesn't look much like a card. So what I'm going to do is select that media 1. I'm going to press 2. And then I'm going to come over here where background is. You see the background and the fast noise. And what I'm going to do is create a polygon on both of them. And the way I'm going to do that is come up here into the middle of this menu. And you see the rectangle, the ellipse, and the next one is just polygon. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to drag it down right over top of this background. I'm going to take that output. I'm going to drag it right to background. Now let's select that polygon. And from here, I want to zoom in. So I can press Command and use the wheel. If you have a 3-wheel mouse, you can easily do that. Otherwise, you can use this drop down menu. You can come up here and hit something like, say, 200%, and it's going to zoom in. So now what we want to do is mask out this card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click here. Now I want to click here, and I'm going to pull that to make that kind of a little rounded. I'm going to drag it over here. Now, not everything has to be perfect here. You can make adjustments later too. So I'm just going to do the same thing all the way around this. I'm going to go around my finger the same way. And there. Okay, so now you can readjust all of these. So if you made a mistake, you can easily just click it and you can make your adjustments there. Okay, it's not that big of a deal. And then let's go up here at the top. As you can see, this one kind of bows over. So what you can do is select the endpoint there, and then this little thing will pop up in yellow. Grab that, and I'll just drag that down. And as you can see, that'll pull it down a bit. I'll select the other side, and then I can just bring that down and get the rest of it there. Same thing for this side. Pull that in a little bit and right there. So that's pretty good. It doesn't have to be perfect. Anyway, and then we're going to add just a little soft edge. We'll be able to see that later. Right now, you're not seeing any colors, but that's okay. Let us go ahead and put this back into fit, and let's hit this 2 window. So now you can see over here, we just created a polygon around that background node in that purple. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take this polygon, we're going to grab that output again, drag it like this. We're going to come over to fast noise and go ahead and drop it on there. Now we have attached the fast noise and the background node for the color and the fast noise on there. Okay, so I'm going to drag this down right here. to match this level. If you want to know how to move the nodes around, go ahead, just select them all like this, and then you can grab them and drag. Or if you select one individual, then you can do it that way. So now let's grab this merge 2. I'm going to grab the output of that and just put it right into this tracker here. So now it's into this tracker here, and make sure we have that goes into the green input. Merge 1 goes into the yellow input. So now we can select tracker 1, and let's go to that spot where it's tracking at, right here at 80. That's where it begins. So what we want to do is we want to attach this purple to this card. That way it matches all the way through. And the way we need to do that is by coming back here to merge 2. We're going to select this. We're going to come up to where it says center. Let's right click on center, and we're going to come down to connect to, and then it's going to give us that tracker. It's going to give us tracker 1, IntelliTrack 1 path. And we're going to go over to the menu that it gives a position and select that. So now it's attaching center to center, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this is actually lining up to that. And at the moment, you are also not seeing this purple onto the card. And the reason for that is because we haven't finished setting up our track, and I wanted to wait to show you that so you can understand what happens when we do that. So let's select tracker 1, and we're going to come over here. Now what we need to do is come to our operation. Under operation is going to allow us to change the settings to attach things to it. Under operation, you see this drop down menu says none, and there's nothing there. So let's go ahead, select that, and let's come down to match move because we want to match the movement. Now it's going to be foreground over background. Okay, and with media out selected and in 2. Okay, so now you can see we have the purple goes over the card, but it doesn't match just right. So let's go ahead and get back to frame 80, and then let's go ahead to the polygon, and we're going to just grab that center. Let's make sure. Okay, so this will be an issue here. All right, so let's go to 80 again. So when you're on frame 80, you can see that there is a keyframe here if you were on a different spot, and this can really affect us. It's right click here for shape animation. Go ahead, just come down here to remove polygon 1 polyline. That will eliminate this animation, and that will allow us to set this where we want it. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the center. I'm going to pull the card exactly where I want it and make any adjustments that you want. Now that we have that, we can mess with the soft edge as much as you want, however you want to do that. If you don't want a soft edge, or if you want a little bit of glow. So I'm just going to add just that a little bit for a little glow there. Okay, so let's bring it all the way back to the beginning and just
So you better start talking before I start dealing.
Purple and all that stuff is right there.
So you better start talking.
However, we need to make that kind of disappear as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here to frame 80 where we start our animation. Let us grab these nodes and move them a little to the left. And now I am going to create one more merge node. I'm going to grab one from here and bring it here. Now, if you want to add something to the direct line that you already have it, go ahead and select it, press shift, and you can pull it down onto the line until you see that and let it go. And it's automatically going to attach. However, for this merge node, we're not going to put it in those exact settings. So you see this comes into the yellow. This is not going to work for us. So I'm going to disconnect that because I want to use this yellow is actually going to attach to the media. So I'm going to select that to the yellow from this media here. And I'll show you in a minute as to why. Then we're going to take this merge and it must go to the green output. Okay, as you can see, that goes into there, to the green input. Now, what we're going to be able to do is create a mask to go around it to hide it when we don't want it there. So to do that, I'm going to just go ahead and bring a polygon down and we're going to attach that to this merge. It's going to go into the blue, and then we're just going to go ahead and click around like this. Now, if you want to make it like jaggedy or whatever, however you want to do it, you can do. I'm just making it like that, and you can see within here, it's going to have, if I go ahead and drag that out, it's going to make it disappear. So this is what we want to do. You can drag it down, and let's make a soft edge on it. So then this way, when we're dragging up and down, it's, bringing it up there, it's not so harsh. So now we're on frame 80. and this is what we want it to be at. So as you can see, we still have this thing on there. I'm going to go ahead, right click and remove that polyline. This way we're not using that. Then I'm going to go ahead and set my keyframe for next to my center, because that's going to be what we're actually using for this. At frame 80 is where we're at. I want to go back about 6 frames. You can choose how many you want to do. I'm just going to bring it there. And then I'm going to go ahead to my Y axis and I'm going to bring this down so that way it comes out of frame. Now let's go back a little bit and see how it plays through
before I start dealing.
So as you can see, it brings it on. It's a little fast. So, I mean, if you want to extend that a bit, you can do that however you want. Now's a good time to do that. Okay, so a very important thing we noticed is that when this came through, so as you can see, the lighting just starts at 80 and goes, which means that we put our keyframes in the wrong position. And I did that intentionally to teach you how to change your keyframes. So we want our first keyframe here to start at 80 and go beyond that. So we want our first keyframe to start at 80 and go to 86 and see how that looks. So here's what we're going to do is we're going to come up to our top right and we're going to find keyframes. Let's click on that. And now you can see we have these keyframes come up. I'm going to just drag this over a little bit so we can see the different nodes here. And as you can see, we have so many things, and anything with a keyframe will be in there. Now, if you click on a node, say this merge node, it's going to highlight that one. Now, but we want the polygon, so we're going to select the polygon. And you cannot see anything in here, but if we come up here just above this and click this little icon, it's going to bring everything up that has them in there so we can see. Now we have the polygon selected, so we know it's this one, and here are our keyframes. And what we want to do is just move where 74 is to 80. So go ahead, come here, grab that, drag it to the right, and as you can see, both of them are moving together. And once that gets to there, now we know we're in that spot, and let's see how that looks.
I start dealing.
That looked a lot better. Maybe we can move it forward another 1 or 2 and fine tune it.
Dealing.
Now would be a good time for you to start working on your fine tuning exactly where you want it. But I'm just going to move forward. So I'm going to select that keyframes again and get rid of that. So now we have this portion of the card complete. And what we need to add next is a little fire. So the way we do that is using the particle emitters. All right, so for this section, I'm really going to move a little quickly here, but you just pause it if you need to, go back and follow along, and it'll make more sense once we get everything done. What we're going to do is we're going to build some particles here. And as you can see, Davinci Resolve has these particles here underneath of our timeline, but there's only 3 of them and we actually need 4. So let's go ahead and start bringing them in. First one is called a particle emitter. So I'm just going to grab that and I'm going to drag it and put it here. Next, I'm going to bring in what we call P turbulence. What I want to do is just click underneath of that. So nothing's selected, press shift or control and space. Then we're going to start typing PTUR for P turbulence. Now I have that. I'm just going to bring it right underneath of there. So follow along with where I'm putting these positions. It'll make your life a lot easier. Next, we're going to grab the one in the middle, which is the directional force. And the one on the end is called a render. So we need to render them out. And we're going to put that there. So now let's grab the output of the P emitter and put it into the P turbulence. And just do the same thing all of the way down. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all connected. Let's click the P emitter. Hold with that selected, press 1 so we can see what it's doing in here, and you can press play and you can see what the particles look like.
So you better start talking before
You see they go really far down, and that's not actually what we want. Now we're going to increase the number of particles as well because I want a lot of particles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to increase this one just over 90. So 90.6. That's a pretty good number there. So that's a lot of particles. We also want to change the lifespan. I don't want 100 frames. I only want around 30. All right, so it goes to 31. That's pretty close. Now let's play that and see how
So
that
you
looks.
better start talking before I start dealing.
31 frames, they just drop off.
So you better start talking.
Pretty good. That's where I want to go with that. Now, something I forgot to do. This is going to change it a little bit and give me a little bit better of a fire effect, which is what I like. So we're going to come up over here to the controls, and we're going to come over to where it says style. Click on style. Now here, If you wanted to actually make those particles a certain shape, you can add a shape to it if you use bitmap. You do that and you can, as you can see, this little triangle just appeared and you could put a shape into there and make them a shape. But what I want to do is come down to blob. So I want this blob for my shape that I'm going to create here. Now let's go down to P turbulence and we're going to get these settings here. So for P turbulence on this, for mine, you can change your settings later on. I'm just going to drag X strength all the way down to 0. Then I want to go with Y strength up to 0.3. So as you can see, sometimes you can't get the exact number, but if you do want that exact number, instead of pulling this, just come over here, click, hold, and then you can drag and you can go number by number. So to get them perfect, if that's what you want to do. Z strength, I want to go to 0.2, and density, I'm going to leave at 10. Now let's go to P directional force. Now the directional force, like as you can see, all
So you
this
better start talking.
I want it to go up, not down. All right, so what I'm going to do is, see here under direction, it says minus 90. So if we just get rid of that minus and make it 90, now it's going to go up. All right, so now that part's finished. And our next one is to go to our P render. Very important thing about the P render is we're going to change this from 3D to 2D. Now we're in two-dimensional space. This is what we want it to look like. And as you can see, it's no longer a blob, but rather it's just particles. I really don't like to see this checkerboard in the background. I want to just see the particles. So let's right click onto this viewer and we're going to come down to options, come over here where it says checker underlay. So let's get rid of that checkerboard. Now we no longer have that underlay. Okay, so from now we're going to start building out our node tree to create the look that we want. So let's press shift space, and what I want to do is add a blur. So I'm going to blur this a little bit, add that, and I'm going to take this blur size to 5. But before I do that, go ahead and select the blur, press 1 so you can see what you're doing. Then you can go to 5. And now you have blur. And you can't really see anything yet, but don't worry, it's working. Under the blur, we're going to add a glow, but I want a soft glow. So press shift space and let's do soft glow. Now you can add like X glow if you know what that is or something like that, but it's going to be very powerful. So I'm just adding the soft glow. So go ahead, press 1 for your soft glow so then you can see what's going on with that. We're going to increase the gain to 5. So just crank that all the way up and now you can see it is starting to appear in there. My glow size, I want to increase this a little bit. I'm going to bring this up to 11. So now we have a glow size of 11 and that should be all for our glow. So now we're going to add our next one, shift space, and we're going to add a brightness and contrast. Go ahead, press 1 again for that. And now let's add our gain again, crank it all the way up to 5. And as you can see, it really added something into there. But that's all I needed to do when it came to the brightness and contrast. So let's press shift space again. We're going to add our next node. We're going to do an erode dilate. So ERO, start typing erode and add that. But this time, I'm going to bring it to the right of this. Just make sure it's still attached. Press 1 on your erode dilate. Then we're going to come over here where it says amount. We're going to grab that and drag it all of the way down. As you can see, it took some away from there. What we're going to do is add some fast noise on top of this erode dilate. So go ahead and remember our fast noise was the second one over next to our background. Grab that and drag it. Put it right over top of erode dilate. Grab the output and drag it into there. Now we can make this go around by using the fast noise. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to make sure the fast noise is selected and I'm going to drag the detail up. So we want to add some detail. I'm going to go just around 7. Yeah, maybe 7.01. Contrast just over 3. So we'll go there. And then we're going to increase the scale of this one. I'm going to increase this one up just under 14. You want to go between, say, 13 and 15. So I'm going to go there. Try that. Then we're going to do the seed rate. I'm going to do my seed rate. I'm going to make this one just under 5. As you can see, it's really twisting it now. So now let's go ahead and play that and see how that looks.
So you better start talking.
So as you can
before
see,
I
it's making
start
quite...
dealing.
Okay, so now we have that done, but color's all wrong. We need it to match the purple. So go ahead and select your erode dilate, press shift space, and to change the color, we need a color corrector. So if we just put CC, color corrector is going to come up and just hit enter. So now with the color corrector selected, you come up to the top right and you can just grab this and pull it down to the color you want. So let's get a nice Gambit purple. and then make sure you select 1 so you can see the color change in there. Now we want to hit a little blur onto that. So go ahead and press Shift and space. We're going to type blur. So I'm going to add this blur, but this time the blur, I'm not going to go all the way up with it to 5. I'm just going to go, say, 2.4. Let's see how that looks. All right. So now I just put that there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to group all of these together. That's why I had you create it like this. So that way your group will look really good. So just press Command G, and now we have this group. So if I have that, and if I decide if I want to expand it, I can press Command or Control E. And as you can see, it's going to make this nice little group. Everything's nice and organized. Command or Control E again to minimize it. Now we have this little group, but what we have to do is we have to now attach it to this. The way we're going to do that is use this merge to node that we had created earlier. But first, before that, we need to add something. We're going to do a brightness and contrast because you're going to need some adjustment there. We're actually just going to do contrast on this one. And then after that, let's press Shift space. We need to transform. So we're going to start typing transform, add a transform node. I'm going to bring that right here. Transform node is going to go directly into the merge. I'm going to disconnect this because I actually also want to add a blur. So I'm going to press Shift space, add a blur. And then I'm going to connect that all together there. Just clean this up a bit. There we go. All right, so let's see what we have right now. Okay, so as you can see, this is not perfectly there. So we're going to go ahead and select our transform. Now we can drag this over to where we would like it. And unfortunately, it is limited by this polygon. So we can go ahead and increase this polygon, hit a soft edge. There we go. So we hit that soft edge up there. And as you can see, I can just readjust it a bit. And let's play it back and see how that looks.
See.
So now, as you can see in the early portion here, we can see some right here. So it's this because I increased the size of the polygon plus the soft edge. So we need to make just a little adjustment with that. So for this polygon, let's go back to 80 and make sure that what we do is we grab this and we're just going to bring it down further. Now let's see if we come back further. Do we still have it? No, it's gone. All right, so it should be working fine. So let's play it back. Okay, so that's looking pretty good right there. So now you have created the glow and some smoke around the card. You can go back through, make your adjustments. Say if you want to make this a little bit smaller, you can go ahead and shrink that down some, move it around into the position that you want to, maybe make it bigger, whatever it is that you want to do and how you want to make that. Go ahead and mess around with your fast noise, different adjustments like that, and you'll get your settings the way you want. As I said, if you stuck around to the end, I'm going to give you some homework. So let's go ahead and check that out. So you're just going to pay attention to what I show you because you won't have this. So just go ahead and stay in the Fusion page. It'll make more sense to you. Now I'm going to come back here. This was the intro I did. As you can see, I have these purple eyes with the red in the middle. So what I want to do is I'm going to go into the Fusion page and show you what I created. Now I know this maybe look intimidating if you were a beginner, but what you just did was you went ahead and you created all of these nodes plus this track. All I did was add these over here, and these are even more simplified than what we created before. There's just more of them and it looks intimidating. All right, so what I want you to do is utilize what you just learned over here and create the same thing over here. But the way it works is you're going to choose an eye. So for example, I started with the left eye, and everything you see here is the left eye. This stuff here is just for the little tiny things in the center. But first you want to start with this section here. As you see, these polygons and this is the same exact thing that's right here going through these different merge nodes. Okay, so you've got the polygon, the background, the merge, and the fast noise. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start with them and create the left eye. Copy it and then paste it over here and then change your polygon to match the right eye. And then all of that will be the same. And you can adjust your strengths for the eyes the way you want them. Next, what you do is once you get that, you're going to bring it in here. And as you remember, when we did this polygon, it comes up and shows everything. Well, if you do that with the eyes and it comes up, it's going to look really weird. So what you need to do is from the center out. That's going to look so much better. So instead of using a polygon, use the ellipse and make the ellipse small and let that grow bigger to expose the eyes. The next thing I want you to do, once you get the purple haze for everything, you have to do something with the pupil. So go ahead and create a red or something there. That's what I used. I used a red, just created a red pupil. And then in the center of that red pupil, to kind of make it glow a little bit without adding a glow, I just added another smaller ellipse, which was white. And that's what you can see here is these different backgrounds. You see this one's red and this background is white. So go ahead and try to build this on there. And the way to get that to track, you need to also create another tracker, okay? So go ahead and take a screenshot of my node tree here that you will need to know where the media in connects to. So you have tracker 2. This one, I set the tracker to follow the eye. So you can see right in the center of the eye here, or you can use the other eye, whichever. Just choose one of them and track it to the end and then do that. So that's your homework. If you can recreate all of that, you're going to retain a lot of the knowledge of what we just did in this lesson here. All right, everybody, I hope you're going to follow through, do your homework, and hopefully in the future we can do some more Marvel style tutorials, and preferably we can do more of Gambit. So if you want to learn more about Davinci Resolve, go ahead, check out one of these videos, and I'll see you in the next one.